Hi, and thank you all for joining us today. We are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. Hi, folks. Thanks so much for joining us today. First, I just want to excuse myself. I have a little bit of a cold that I'm getting over. So if I need to cough, I'm going to just quietly pull myself off the screen so you don't have to listen to that. But thank you so much for joining us today. We are airing live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, which is 105.3 on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. Please join us in one of the various chat rooms. We would love to hear from you so you can connect with our guest today. Today, we're super excited, and we have a very timely topic with Treva Brandon Scharf. We're going to be talking about manifesting your soulmate, love, and the law of attraction. And with Valentine's Day tomorrow, I know there's a lot of folks out there who are constantly struggling, trying to find their soulmate. And we're going to go into a deep dive discussion about this topic. We're also going to be talking about her new book, which is called Done Being Single, A Late Bloomer's Guide to Love. So let me just introduce Treva here. Hi, how are you?
Hi, Carol Ann. Nice to see you.
To see you too. It's such a pleasure. I'm so excited to talk to you. I think this topic is really timely as well. And it's funny because when I booked it, I didn't intentionally book it towards Valentine's Day, but I thought it was so cool that it kind of just, the universe just spoke to it and put you right in that slot. Now, before you introduce yourself, I just want to say, first and foremost, that I'm very honored to have you with us today. I read your book, and it was amazing. It really nailed so much for me in terms of my own personal life and experience. And we're going to be talking about that today. And of course, I will have the links to your website, to where people can purchase your book, all in the description of this. Oh, it's on that side. I always do that. Everything is backwards. Or reversed, I should say. But yeah, I'm going to have all the links in the description of this video to where folks can purchase your book and check out your website. You're a multi-talented woman, and I'm going to step off for a minute and let you kind of introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your journey, and then we'll start with the questions.
Sure.
Oh.
Thank you. There you are. Thank you so much for having me. I love that you read my book and know already about me and my story, but for the sake of introduction, I am Treva Brandon Scharf. I'm a late blooming bride, as I like to call myself. I got married at 51, first time. I married a guy who was also a marriage first timer. He was 57. And we met on my birthday of my 50th birthday. Actually, I had a big party. I invited him. I originally met him on Facebook, and invited him to this big blowout because I thought, well, I'm 50. I'm not yet married. I'm never going to have a wedding, so I'm going to have a really big birthday party and celebrate being single because, why not? There was a lot to be happy about, and I was a happy single person. Anyway, so I invite Robbie, and he showed up, and we went on a date the following week, and then cut to, long story short, he proposed 6 months later, and then we got married in the following year of, 2014, in May of 2014. And I had been blogging about getting engaged at 50 and how crazy it was to be going through all of this stuff that usually people half your age go through. And as the blog sort of took off into some other areas, we had been married for a few years, and I thought, well, you know what? Why don't I write a book to tell the story of the story behind all of these blogs? And that was sort of the genesis of the book and how that came about. And here we are 10 years later. We just celebrated our 10-year anniversary, and it's still a mind blower. Marriage is, when you've spent your entire life alone, and I'm an only child, and I never even lived with a guy. It's crazy. It's still super new in a lot of ways and wonderful. I love it. I love married life. But you know what? I love being single too. And a lot of the book talks about how to be single, because if you're going to be single, you got to be happy, right? You got to be content. That's the word I would use.
Absolutely. And I love hearing about that. Was going to be one of my questions, the origin of like what prompted you to write this book. And, you know, I have to say, and I said this to you before when we were chatting, I've read a few other books on this topic, and your book just nailed it for me. It really did. It just hit home with so much of what goes on in your head and your heart.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. I absolutely loved it. It was great.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Let's define first and foremost what a soulmate is. And then we're going to talk about how the law of attraction can help us find our soulmate. So what in your verbiage would best describe what is a soulmate or finding your soulmate?
That is a good question. And it's a question for the ages. It's the $64,000 question. Oh man, you think you marry your soulmate, right? Everybody gets married thinking, well, this is it, the one, my forever person, right? Only to find out however many years later, nope, maybe not.
Right.
So in my case, I dated so many people. There were many people I thought could have been my soulmate. Maybe they were for a minute, for a month, you know. There's an old saying about, you know, some people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, or something like that, right? Yeah. I believe that. I believe people come onto your path and in your life for a reason. And maybe it's not forever. Maybe it's just to teach you something. So I don't know. I'm going to assume that the person I ended up with, and believe me, I dated. I'm going to believe that the person I ended up with, Robbie, was the person I was meant to end up with. That maybe this was all part of the plan. That I was supposed to struggle and have challenges and experience and explore and discover and be single a really long time. And then, yes, at 51, I was supposed to get married. I don't know. I didn't ask to be a late bloomer. It's not like I set out, and I say that in the book. It's not like I purposely, delayed my life. No, it just didn't happen.
Right.
In the timely fashion that it does for most people. They meet their soulmate in their 20s, right? And they get married, they have kids. Nope, that didn't happen for me. I took a different path. I marched to the beat of my own drummer.
And obviously there's nothing wrong with that. That was the path that you were destined to walk. Just like I believe there are no such thing as coincidences either.
Right.
Do you think that you can have more than one soulmate?
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah. It's all sort of, I don't know. It's wherever you're moved, wherever the spirit moves you. Maybe you're moved to a new town and you meet a new person, or you move here, or you take a job here, or somehow, and it exposes you to new people and new experiences, and you can fall in love a million times. I mean, I was in love. I loved a lot of people. I thought any number of them I could have married. It probably wouldn't have been a good idea. And there were a lot of people that wanted to marry me, and I said no. I could have been many times, and it just, for whatever reason, I listened to my intuition. I'm not going to say that. I mean, I think we all go into relationships, particularly older. As we get older, we get more baggage, we accumulate more baggage, right? And we have more hardships, and we have more issues. And things, and we have more fear. And I think all of those things, it either delays your journey or it moves you along. I think there was a little of that for me. Is there a reason why it took so long? I don't know. Maybe I had a little to do with it. Maybe I was afraid. Maybe I had some commitment phobia, which is quite possible. Or maybe just the universe, again, had another plan.
Yeah. Yeah, I tend to agree with that. It's funny because there are some people that truly believe that you can only have one soulmate, and everybody else doesn't mean you don't love them, but like that true soul connection. And I absolutely disagree with that as well. I mean, I hate to use the analogy, but I've had so many dogs in my life that I've adored like children. And to me, they were my soulmate pet. Every one of them was that way. Like I loved each and every one of them differently. So I kind of equate that to the same thing with people. You can fall in love, like you said, and have so many different soulmates in your life. To say, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about the law of attraction, because that was such a big thing, like back in the 90s, I think, when The Secret came out. And I read that book and I was really moved by it. It was like a new concept. And I think everybody misconstrued what it really meant and how to really use it. But, when it comes to love, I think it works the same way, the principle. So like the law of attraction states that like we create our own reality, both positive and negative, both through our thoughts and our actions that we kind of put out there into the universe.
Yep.
So how does that work? If you can kind of nail it, I mean, we all know you can't just wish something into existence. It doesn't work that way. The law of attraction works differently. So folks have to read the book to really understand how it works. But let's just say, for the sake of conversation, if you could will this person into your world by using the law of attraction, how would you do that? And do you think it's possible?
Okay, so I did read the book or see the movie many, many years ago. I think we all did, right? And yeah, I believe in it. I believe that your thoughts become things, and your energy determines a lot of who you attract. And I always say the better you become as a person, the better you will attract, right?
Right.
I mean, I guess it's the old water seeks its own level.
Yes, absolutely.
Saying, right? But I would rather, because this is a really interesting concept. And I actually just read I'm fascinated with the concept of luck. Okay. I would rather think of dating and finding your person as a process of what I have read to be called active luck. Okay. So, and I'm going to quote a little bit from this article. I wrote some notes because it's so interesting, because you can create your own luck.
Oh, I just have to.
Go ahead.
I agree 1,000%. I read The Luck Factor about 20 years ago, and that book changed my life.
I have been doing this unknowingly. Okay. I have been, who knew? I have been creating and manifesting my own luck for a really long time, because I believe in some certain principles that apparently, yes, there's some science backed. Yeah. It's research backed. It's not just my imagination. I think that dating and finding love is a combination of active luck, which a combination of human effort.
Right.
Okay. Human effort and randomness.
Mm.
Okay. So that is called active luck, or provoked luck, or whatever you want to call it. So there are a few things that you can do. And usually they apply this stuff to sales, like salespeople. Okay. And that was the original article I read about how to create your own luck in business. Okay. But the truth is, if you just substituted dating, for business,
Right.
There you go. So in this article, there are 4 principles of luck, and I just love this. I love this because this is your roadmap. This is the blueprint to really find anything, but particularly in dating, because it has so much to do with your mindset, right?
Yes.
It is all about what you believe is possible, which is one of the points here. So here we go. The 4 principles of luck. You're open to opportunity. You pursue it and you make the most of it wherever it comes, however it comes to you. Okay. So you are open to opportunity. You trust your intuition. Okay. You're optimistic, pretty much, and you're resilient. Okay. So those 4 things, right? Being open to opportunity, trusting your intuition, being somewhat optimistic, and building resilience these things are so important in the dating world, particularly in the modern dating world, where there's so much pain and suffering and challenges, right? And ghosting and bad behavior and hostility and anger. I mean, it's, can I curse?
Unfortunately, we're live on FM
Okay,
radio.
it's an S show. How about
Gotcha.
that? Okay. And the thing that I find is so important, it's not having expectations, because to me, expectations are killers. They will disappoint you every time.
Oh.
Right? Don't try to temper the expectations. Instead, believe that it's possible. Believe that meeting someone IRL, in line at the bank or at Starbucks or, at the store, believe that it's possible to create your own opportunities. And there are things that you need to do that fall under the human effort part, the effort. You got to put in the work. It will not happen magically. You just can't. I mean, my God, we all know right place, right time, right person, right mind. Okay. So I tell my clients, this is not going to magically just appear without some work, some effort on your part. And you're going to have to put yourself in some places. You're going to have to get out of your comfort zone. You're going to have to take some risks. You're going to have to get comfortable with a little rejection. You're going to have to get over your limiting beliefs. And you're going to have to start to tune into your intuition and your trust and something, right? Otherwise, we all need that, just to function. So there is, you do what you can on your part. You put yourself in places, you go out, get out, okay, try. Yeah. And here's the problem. We're living in such a online world, right? We don't have to go out for anything now. We don't have to shop. We don't have to, we can buy everything. We can order up our dates online. Okay. This is not good. I mean, one could say, well, that's effort. Yes. Okay. That's effort. You are putting yourself online. Okay. You make sure that you look good, right? Presentation, super important. If you're gonna date online, man, you better because if you want to attract people, you got to work on being attractive, which is right. But there are other little things like eye contact, smiling.
That's a big,
chatting, striking up a little conversation, saying hello for no reason. Good morning. Open the door. Thank you. There are little things that we have now gotten a little lazy doing because we don't do it enough.
Right.
Okay. So, and then once you can really feel like I have done it all, I have gotten out of my comfort zone, I've made an effort, I've smiled, I have put myself online, I have made myself look good and feel good, I'm presentable, I'm attractive, I I get out, I go out, I talk. Okay, after you feel like you've done it all, you've checked off all those boxes, and that is when you let go. And that is when you detach from the outcome and you let the universe do its thing. Because you cannot. There are a lot of things that you can, I talk about this in the book, that you can manifest from the sweat of your brow, right? We can be, I'm all for being intentional. I'm all for working hard, but above and beyond that, I am all for letting go and surrendering and seeing what comes to me. And that to me is really the magic. If you can hit those two things, combine those two things, right? Human effort and randomness, belief in the chance encounter, believe in it. Yes, it can happen at any moment in your life, but you got to get out, right? And the more you believe in the chance encounter, chances are you are going to meet someone.
Excuse me, just cold.
That's okay. That's
Sorry.
okay. And that's my take on the law of attraction, which really is not the law of attraction, but I guess it's some variation of the law of attraction.
Oh, I think it most definitely is. Absolutely. When you let go, when you made the conscious decision to just let go and let the universe, what was that like an epiphany for you? Was it just like a spark, an intuitive moment that you had? What was that like?
So it happened, my breakthrough, my epiphany, whatever you'd want to call it, came, I was 49. I was about to turn 50. I was going through a breakup. I broke up, or rather someone broke up. No, I broke up with him because he couldn't commit. So of course, as usual, I'm the one to have to do the breaking up. This was, I will never forget. And again, I talk about it in the book. I will never forget the day. It was November 12th, 2012. I believe it was election. It was the Sunday before the election of 2012 election. And I was dating a guy I had been seeing for 6 months, and we had the talk. It was a Sunday. He came over because a couple of my friends said, well, you've been dating for 6 months. Have you guys said, I love you? And I said, no, I don't know. Maybe he's shy, or maybe, no, we haven't. And they said, well, that's not right. At 6 months, you should know if you love someone, and you should be saying it. So then it got in my head, right? So then I asked the guy I was dating, come over, and we had a little chat. And I said, it's been 6 months. We haven't said I love you. Because I love you. And he said, well, I'm not there yet. It's just not really, priority for me right now. And I just, in my mind, something came over me. And instead of going to pieces, which I kind of did after I did, but something made me feel like, no, I am not letting another breakup take me down. I'm not going to do that to myself. If this guy doesn't dig me right now after 6 months, right? I can't be any more wonderful than I was in that moment. And I thought, to hell with you, man. No, goodbye. I'm out. I went out on my terms. I said goodbye. And after that, something clicked. And I thought, I've done everything in my power. I have listed the things I just said. I've gone online. I made sure that I was, I believe in self-improvement. I looked good. I gave everything. I gave anybody I dated my all. I made sure that I was of sound mind, right? I did the checklist, and no, it wasn't happening. So guess what? I'm done.
Yeah.
I quit. I'm done with this thing. I wasn't necessarily done with dating. I just was done with the hope of ever getting married. And in taking marriage off the table, something lifted. It had become such a heavy weight, like this goal that kept eluding me. Like I couldn't get it. I couldn't have it. And it was really self-defeating. It became a self-defeating mission for me. And I don't know, something came up, some unknown self-respect that I didn't know I had, where I just said, okay, you're better than this. And if it's not meant, maybe you are not meant for marriage, and let it go. Let it go, because it's not taking you to good places. And I did, and I let go, and it freed me. Okay. I didn't give up on love. I just gave up on ever getting married. And that was the greatest thing I could have ever done. So I kind of quit, and I let go. I just said, I surrender. Whatever's meant to come my way, it will come now. I can't do anything more. And it did. There you go. And 2 months later, so then, no, that was about 3 months later, I turned 50 and had a party. And I invited a ton of people, including the guy that I would ultimately meet and marry. And that's how it happened.
Wow. I like the whole way that you came to that awakening, because that's how I look at it. Like it was just an internal awakening and a connection to the universe that you had. And like you said, when it was meant to be. What did you go through? You talk about forgiveness. So like how did we forgive ourselves for past digressions, whether they are in the dating world or personal F-ups, as you so put it?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, forgiveness is
Yeah.
righteous, man. That is a gift you give yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't care how you do it. I don't care if it's self-forgiveness or forgiving others. I mean, it is a well-known fact, okay, that it is, it's just the greatest thing you could ever do. And start with yourself. I mean, start with whoever. And ultimately, when you forgive yourself, oh my gosh, all the shame, just and then you hold the line with it. Okay, so you got to forgive yourself, and then you stick to it. And anytime, any kind of, and life is you are gonna mess up, right? We're all gonna continue to make mistakes, but the key is to automatically forgive yourself, and then the shame just kind of fades. You shut the door on shame. No, shame, you're not coming in. No way. Because that is like death by 1,000 cuts, to carry any kind of shame or remorse, or, I mean, some remorse and guilt is healthy. It's healthy. You got to be able to to course correct. You got to learn, man. If you're gonna F up, right, you better learn. But to carry that with you, no, that doesn't help you or any new person that comes into your life.
Yeah, and I'm a big believer in not, taking baggage from like one relationship into the next, whether it's with your girlfriends, or your boyfriends. That really sabotages any future that you could possibly have. So like we all have baggage, right? Whether it's from our parents, past marriages, whatever.
Right.
But working through that, and you mentioned in your book, get therapy if you need to. Like you can't let this crap fester, because all you're going to do is take it into that next relationship and destroy it.
Yes. So yes, and I have a lot to say about that, because it's, we bring stuff from our past, right? We carry it with us like luggage or like a backpack, right, through life. And I'm actually somewhat, I'm kind of, what I wouldn't say, to say I'm a fan of baggage isn't the right way to put it. There is something human about baggage. There's something, right? There's something, it's humanity, and it makes us human. And at a certain age, everyone has it. We've all suffered some hardships and slings and arrows, and right, we've got the battle scars and the scar tissue to show for it. I am one of those people that likes to put a positive spin on that, because I think there's something bonding about being able to share in a vulnerable way, what you've gone through in life.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So there's something, because everybody has. So there's this beautiful thing you can like bond over, that can bring you closer. And it gives people, I think it gives people depth.
Yes.
And character, right? It gives you something to sink your teeth into. I like someone with a little edge and a little stuff going on, because it feels like, oh, you're my people, right? You know, I get you, and you get me. However, now where that might become negative or counterproductive is if you don't handle it. Okay.
Right.
If you say, I came from a dysfunctional family, divorce, blah, 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 whatever it is that you bring to the table. And I just need you to know that this is who I am. But I want you to know at the same time, you can feel comfortable that I'm dealing with it, that I manage it, because that is everything.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, it's all about communication. If you can't communicate with your partner, then to me, there's no relationship. To me, it's more important than a physical relationship.
Yeah.
Yes. To be able to connect on that level, because at that level, it's much more than words. You're bonding in a very spiritual way, right? When you can share that baggage and talk about, kind of get over it, right?
Sure.
Now, you talk in your book a lot about your parents and what you had to go through, and it was quite riveting. Your mom, maybe you could speak about your mom and dad a little bit. Your mom was quite famous in the industry, and your dad too. So you have this whole thing. You had to deal with their relationship, how toxic it was in a lot of ways, how codependent it was. Maybe you can just talk about that a little bit, and how that affected your ability maybe to find your soulmate.
Yes. I'm not, I take full responsibility for my part in I say sort of delayed launch. My parents were divorced. I'm an only child. They had a very dysfunctional relationship. There's a good chance that I picked up a little of their angst and their energy. Right. I'm an empath. So it's quite possible I saw that and wanted no part of it. And I grew up with a very self-sufficient, independent, very strong mother, single mom, who needed no man. She had a boyfriend or two after my dad, but you know what? She was married to her business. And as a result, maybe I saw that and thought, well, I don't need a man either, I guess. My dad was really broken from the divorce. They have both passed on now, so I can speak freely. Although they could be watching.
They could be.
But they know this. And if they're hearing me, they know this, okay? They didn't handle their stuff very well. And I think they came from another generation where they didn't understand, generational trauma, right? Handing it down, right? And I was this kid, and I saw it and heard it, and I had to really take on a lot of their pain and suffering. And they just didn't know better. They were such good people, but they couldn't help themselves. They were a little like not paying attention to, oh, maybe this is not good for our daughter to hear, So yeah, and, there's a good chance that I also, and by the way, I've had a ton of therapy. So I have talked about this, and take full responsibility. But then again, we talk about like maybe it wasn't supposed to happen for me in my 20s, and I've got to respect that. I have to honor my personal path, everybody has to honor their personal path, even if it's not conventional, right? Even if it's like, even if you get married for the first time at 51, or if you never get married, or, right? There has to be a level of like, okay, acceptance, accept that this is my path. And I took this whole experience as a call to action to look at my issues, because I really wanted to level up, right? I really wanted to be married. I wanted to have a healthy relationship. I did not want to repeat my parents' stuff. So I went on a mission, to figure out what is going on here. And I did the best I could to fix whatever was broken. Okay. And then, again, above and beyond that, okay, now it's not my job. It is God's will. Whoever I'm supposed to meet, bring it on.
What do you think of the I guess it would be Gen X, Gen Z, that they're postponing any serious hope for relationship, children, that kind of thing? And it almost seems forced to me, like that they're just going against societal norms and beliefs. But when you see them on the internet, they're really deeply longing for that connection to a soulmate. Like, what's going on with that whole thing with these youngins?
I don't know. That's such a great question. I'm fascinated. With that, because it's such a different dating world than when we were single, right? I mean, it's, but even people our age that are single, it's a different world now. Technology has a lot to do with it.
Mm.
Feminism, Me Too.
Yeah.
A lot to do with how people meet, approach, communicate, connect. I think younger generations don't have the resilience that older people have. They don't know a time before technology. They grew up sometimes very sheltered, very overprotected, very coddled, and don't have skills. So once they become an adult in the dating world, they can't function. So they check out.
Yeah.
I would also say that the behavior online on apps, it's abhorrent. It's reprehensible how people treat each other.
Yeah.
If I was subjected to that kind of treatment day in and day out, right? The ghosting and the breadcrumbing and the benching and the gaslighting and name it. There are all these, right? All these new, terms. I mean, it crushed my soul too. It's very soul crushing.
That's a perfect word for it, because it really is. Do you remember, I think it was in the early 90s when that Girls Gone Wild thing started, and they just made it okay for young girls to portray themselves in such a manner. And I think men lost a lot of respect for women when that happened. Flashing, sending nude pics and all that stuff. I wish I could be more descriptive, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
And
yes.
Really do. I think it destroyed their ability to foster some type of decent, wholesome relationship.
Yes. Yes. And now we're in a social media world.
Right.
Okay. Which has further eroded norms, decency, civility. I don't know. I'm 62, just turned. I'm horrified. I mean, I so many times I see things, I go, oh God, thank God my mother's not around to see this. She'd be horrified, because she was so classy. My mother was just really a lady. I mean, she was funny. She was she was a sailor sometimes, but like for the most part, she was very decorum was like,
Sure.
I mean, she could roll with the punches, but oh man, what is we called style or taste or class these days. It's, I feel like an old lady when I talk about this stuff, but okay, people. But to your question about, millennials and Gen Z and how tough it is for them to date. Oh my goodness. I don't have kids, so maybe I shouldn't be commenting, or maybe I can comment because you know what? I have common sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay? So yeah, right. That's kind of what you need. That's all you need is just common sense. But yeah, I kind of fear for them because it's almost like they don't know what to do with themselves. The thought of them talking to someone, how about they don't even talk on the phone?
True.
Even that is too personal.
It horrifies them. When the phone rings, they're like, how dare you call me? Just text me instead. The interesting thing is there are some YouTube channels with young girls that have, kind of put their husband first, and they're living that very traditional life. And there are millions and millions of people following them. So I think secretly they really yearn for that. They need to read your book because they need to like get a grip on, like, they need a good how-to manual, I think.
The beauty of my journey is that I, as a single woman, I really had some great survival skills as a single woman. Okay, so I am as progressive and independent and self-reliant as they come. I am super progressive. Okay, but I'm also of an age, right, where I do appreciate tradition and conventions. I love old-fashioned romance. I love chivalry. Okay, I think it's beautiful. Everybody gets so bent out of shape because how dare you open my door, and I'm not paying for you. And I mean, there's just all this stuff that's just. I think you can hold two beliefs, right? You can be modern and progressive, but you could also value old school traditions and rituals, which to me never go out of style. So the book is kind of like, here's how you straddle both worlds, and I do realize particularly in post-Me, we're living in a post-Me Too world. We have to be mindful of that. Men nowadays have to be careful because, oh my gosh, even talking to a woman could land you in legal peril, right? It's not easy to be a guy these days. And my heart goes out to men because it's very difficult. And I know, feminists are going to go screaming with their hair on fire when they hear this. But, and I said this on another podcast the other day, and I'm as feminist, and you will not meet a more feminist. I was single for 50 years, people. Yeah. Okay. So don't say that I'm the anti-feminist, because I'm not. However, I do think that men are really getting kind of a bad deal these days. Yeah. Because not all men are creepy, and not all men are abusers, and not all men are harassers. Yes, there are some. Yes, we do live in a patriarchal society. Okay, but I mean, really, we've come so far. As women have come very far. We are no longer really oppressed anymore. And I think there's a pendulum swing to your point about trad wives. Wives, okay?
Wife.
Right? And not to get political here, but I'm just going to sort of touch on it. A lot of the platform of of Trump and Vance and their followers, their male followers, do believe that there's a place for women, and they're very traditional about women's roles now, and hence the popularity of trad wives, which is going to be a little.
You could have right? You could have, like you said, you could have both.
Yeah. So it's an interesting time for the genders, but you can be both. You can be both. I am.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I make my own way in the world. I supported myself. But I'll tell you what, I love having a door open for me and a car door open. And I love when a man pulls a chair out for me. And I love when, to be taken out to dinners. I mean, yes, I can pull out my own chair. Yes, I can pay for myself. Yes, 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 yes. You can buy your own house. You can, right? We know this. Don't ruin it for everybody. That's what I say. Like, don't bomb our high. Don't kill our buzz. let old fashioned be old fashioned.
I love it.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree with you more. I don't think it'll ever die either. I don't think, those types of expectations when you're in a, like, I love to cook dinner for my husband when he was alive, God rest his soul. And I love doing that for people I love. It could be children, anybody that I love, I like doing things for, obviously. And that's the same thing that I expect in a man. Do those nice things for me the way I do nice things. Not all women are gold diggers. Not all women want a man's money.
Correct.
And I think men have this perception that that's the case, and they should be fearful. They need to be careful when they're out there dating too, men, in all fairness, because there are a lot of women and scammers, especially online, right, that do that.
Yes.
I am from the school where I like the unity of a couple. You don't have to be married necessarily, but there's something so special about that unifying force. When you got married, you felt secure. You felt unified, right?
Yes.
So what, and this has to do with making the first move. And you talk about this in your book. You suggest to let men pursue you and not take that away from them. I mean, that's kind of what we're talking about in a way. How should people deal with that concept, women?
Okay, so what's the demographic of your audience? All ages?
Yes, it ranges. I mean, it ranges probably from in the 20s to like 80s.
Okay, so those of us of a certain age remember a time when men used to flirt.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe you'd get hit on every once in a while. And I loved it.
It was awesome.
And it is the way to go. I mean,
yeah.
What the hell? Not anymore. I guess you can't do that. So now, which is kind of sad because I never saw it as, I remember being of a certain age and thinking one day, I'm going to be of an age where no guy looks at me anymore. Oh. So I'm going to, because it happens. And I'm going to appreciate this moment in my life right now. I made a mental note. I must have been something in my 20s I had like this weird kind of like a premonition that enjoy it now.
Oh boy.
Okay. So, and I never took for granted ever anybody who expressed interest in me. It was never, insulting or I don't know why people get so bent out of shape. So women get so bent out of shape when a guy expresses interest. That is the most flattering thing if it's done in a respectful way. So here's to your point about making the first move. There's a way to do it that's respectful and tactful. Okay. Men who are watching, we're living in, sort of different times here where you have to be really careful about coming off too hard, too much, too fast, too strong. So what I would do if I was a guy, and I just talked about this on another podcast, I would walk up to, if I saw a woman that was pretty or I wanted to chat with her at a party or a coffee place, I would probably walk up and and by the way, do what I said at the top of the show, right? Get out of your comfort zone.
Right.
Okay. Take a risk. You're going to have to put yourself out there. And I'd say, I know this is probably not PC. I know this is not politically correct these days to approach a woman. So forgive me in advance. But if you don't mind me telling you, I think you're so attractive and I'd like to know you.
I like
and
that.
Who would have an issue with that? And any woman who got her knickers in a knot over that, you know what? Goodbye. I wouldn't understand how anybody could not be like melt over that. That's a lovely thing to do. It's respectful. It has everything you need for a cold approach. So that's what I would do if I was a guy. Okay.
Love that.
Now, for a woman to make it the first move, I would sort of say the same thing. I'd say, I know this is weird. We're living in different times. I'm going to do something that all the dating coaches and advice tell you to do because we are empowered women. So I'm going to be empowered and tell you, you're so attractive and I'd like to know you. It's not what I normally do, but you know what? What the hell? It's if not now, when? So that's what I would say to a guy if I saw a guy that looked interesting. So there you go. So you sort of preface it in a way that it disarms the situation, and nobody comes off looking weird or awkward. But again, you got to be comfortable with failure. You've got to get a little comfortable with rejection. Okay, because it will happen. Not everybody's your cup of tea. You're not everybody's cup of tea.
Exactly. So essentially, you kind of trust the universe, that the universe has a plan for you and that everything unfolds in its right possible timeline, correct? And obviously that worked very well for you.
Yes.
Clearly, there are some bad actors out there. As you mentioned in your book, there's weirdos, scammers, narcissists, abusers, and that we should be on the lookout. So what do you recommend? Because let's face it, dating apps are probably the number one way that people are connecting and meeting. What are some specific rules of thumb that men and women should follow or not do? What would you recommend as a dating coach?
As it pertains specifically to online dating?
Yeah.
Okay. So scammers galore, right? Both men and women.
Right.
It's really pathetic. It's sad. It's terrible. It's exploitive. It's awful. It's the worst kind of manipulation to play with someone's heart like that. Oh yeah. I mean, talk about bad karma. Whoa. Okay, but it exists. So here's what. You got to walk a fine line between being vigilant, okay, but not too nuts and paranoid. Thanks Google, you've turned us all into detectives. We're like all dating detectives now. We're all dating CIA, okay? Every single person I know, and I did for the time that I was online, you'd meet someone, you'd go home and you Google them, right? Who doesn't do that? Okay. So right. Okay. So we vet as well as we can. We ask a ton of questions and we observe and we listen. And then the rest is, okay, leap of faith. I'm going to go into this because guess what, everybody? You could think you know and marry someone that you think you knew, right?
Yeah.
Okay. and then find out however many months, weeks, whatever, years later, that this person isn't what they said they were. Okay. So we have to have some self-trust, some intuitive ability, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we've got to tune into our own intuition without getting too nuts and too paranoid, because that'll just ruin everything, right? If you're walking around with thinking everybody's out to get you or scam you, or, you know, that's not fun. You can't really date loose, like relaxed like
Right.
that. Okay. Yeah, you know, things happen to the best of us. We get taken. Happens, you know, even the smartest. I mean, I don't, even in like bank fraud or, you know, scams, like Craigslist scams and stuff. I mean, we all fall for it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but the best thing you can do with anybody you meet and date, whether you meet online or in real life, do that. What I just said, ask a ton of questions, watch them, observe them, listen to them, and go in with an open mind and an open heart. And, you know, what's the old saying, guilty until proven otherwise, or no, innocent until, innocent. There's a little of that, right? Okay. And then the red flags, if there are red flags, oh, you'll see them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And here's another thing. If you have a little bit of a pattern, if in the past you have a habit of attracting a certain type of guy, that's or woman that is unavailable or emotionally dysfunctional or avoidant, or if you know this about yourself, you can be your own detective and you can say, you know what, I've done this before with so many different kinds of guys or girls, and I can't, I'm not doing it again. I feel it. I sense it's coming. I just know it. And I'm going to just, you know, save myself a lot of heartache and say no, or, you know, no, thank you for a second date. Okay. So there's a lot of self-awareness that goes into dating your own stuff. Like,
Right.
I had a habit of dating guys that were sort of emotionally damaged in a way, like fixer uppers.
Yeah.
And because I used to meet them when they were divorced, like just newly divorced, and they were all, you know, just broken and a mess and great. And I fixed them, right? And I thought, well, my love is going to, you know, it's going to restore them back to health, right? I'm going to be the one to do it, and they're going to marry me after that. And no.
Yeah.
And after getting my heart broken X amount of times, I got hip, you know, and I went like, no more of those.
Your book has a lot of funny moments in it that really made me chuckle. One of them was I think it was the one where you were showing a conversation, like a text conversation. And you said, well, the guy complained about investing $60. And then you said, well, I'll bring it back to 60. So funny, guys. If you want to chuckle, you have to read this book. There's so many moments like that are just great. So it's not only sad, you know, and moving, but it's very humorous too. So I really appreciated that.
Thank you. Thank you. You read that book, girl. Oh, wow.
I read every page very well. No, it was so good. I don't often get, like, after I read a book, I don't often go, I have to reread that, but I do. I'm going to reread it because I want to make sure I didn't miss, you know, some of the key points, because like you're underlining things and stuff, you know. What should people talk about during a first date? Because first dates are weird. They just are. They can be very off-putting and uncomfortable. And then especially nowadays when you get some men that want you like to split the check, and that's like so untraditional. Like I'm not, you know, and it's nothing to do with money. it has to do with respect. That's how I see it. It's not the money that I'm worried about, splitting the check. It's the respect factor. So how do women handle that first date where it's so uncomfortable and you don't know what to do?
When it comes to the check splitting?
The whole thing, the conversation, the check splitting, the whole first date.
Oh, well, wow. I have a list of first date questions. I wish I had them handy. Like conversation starters, questions, topics. There's a whole list I've put together, and I probably should. Thank you for reminding me. I'm going to put them on my website.
That would be
because yeah, thank you for that. Because in the case that you have like a pause or it's awkward or there are a bunch of really cool questions you can ask that are thought-provoking that actually get into someone's psyche, right? I was listening to This American Life on NPR, and it was a story on trap questions. And what's your trap question? What is the question you ask someone that will, eventually give you the information that you need? And this one woman admitted that on a date, and I don't know how, I don't know. I could see this. Let me just tell you the question. She asks her date, she'll say, so if you saw your ex walk in right now with another person, what would you do?
Oh, that's good.
What would you do? And I thought that is brilliant, because the way they answer will tell you everything. Right? She told that she was telling the story how one date said, if I saw my ex walk in with a guy, I'd get up and call her a bitch and punch him in the face.
Oh, wrong answer.
Okay. So, but there was another one that said, I would say hello. I'd give her a hug and be as pleasant and charming as possible. So the goal of that question is to gauge how much someone has gotten past, right? Yes. How healed are you? If you want to still punch someone in the face,
oh boy,
you have no business dating.
Exactly.
So it was kind of a trick question, but I understood where it went and why, because you get your answer really quick. Okay.
Yes.
So, but I would ask questions like, what are your passions? What do you love to do? And why do you love that? And, tell me about some of the things you've learned over the years about love, and who taught you, tell me about your parents, and how is love demonstrated in the house, and stuff like that. I mean, you can get your answers in some really interesting non-confrontational ways that will make somebody open up, as opposed to putting them on the defensive.
Oh, I really like that a lot, because like I said, they could be very awkward. And I think too, like, as far as the check thing goes, how do you think women should approach that? Like, I've we're all watching these things on the internet, and I've seen some horror stories. I always feel so bad for the poor women. How do you think women should, when the bill comes, the bill's there?
Okay. So here we go. This is like feminism, 2.0.
Right.
Okay. We're living in different times. You cannot make assumptions. So here's what my whole thing is: whoever asks for the date should pay. Right. That's kind of just standard operating procedure.
Yes.
If you're a woman and you know that there is no second date, offer to split immediately. Offer to let me split it. No, you don't have to. Oh, no. please let me split, because then you remove any expectation that there's going to be like something else coming. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like sometimes there may be a misconception that just because a guy pays for dinner that he's going to get lucky.
Ah, yes.
No, and it doesn't necessarily translate. One does not, you're not going to get laid just because you take someone out to dinner. Okay.
Exactly.
So, but if you're a woman and say, let me let me help. Okay. I would, again, have that when the check comes down, lays down, I would say, so, we're living in some different dating worlds now. So I'm just going to do the right thing and offer to split it with you. And just because that's the right thing to do now.
Right.
And say it much like my suggestion about approaching someone. Say it in advance. Like, I know this is the thing we do these days, and chances are the guy is not going to let you pay. I mean, he'll say, "Nah, forget it," or he may, because you know what, women, again. Oh my gosh, it's raining here. I'm in LA right now. It has just gotten so dark.
Oh, I noticed that. Yeah.
And my lights. Oh, there they go. Okay. I have little selfie lights. They went out for a second. Okay. It's just so weird for it to be raining in LA. Anyway, so what was I saying? Oh, about, the splitting the check. Yeah. So, ladies, you could say, I know we can pay for, I know that we've got financial, power these days. And so, but have a little laugh with it. Talk about it, just like you would when you see someone that you like or you want to know, you say, hey, I know this is the way things aren't done these days, or this is how, but let me just. And then you guys can like have a little laugh over it, or you get what I'm saying? Just kind of get like where you're at, so that nobody makes assumptions and that there are no expectations.
I like that a lot.
You lay it on the line, you lay it out, you just put it out there, right? So that nobody gets upset. And no guy's going to walk away, mumbling gold digger.
Right.
And no woman is going to walk away, whatever. It really kind of proactively resolves a lot of. The more you talk about the insanity of what's going on in dating right now, the better. Talk about it.
I like that a lot. What advice do you have for people that are in a relationship and say either one of them don't want to commit to the next level? Is it worth, I hate to say the word wasting your time, but so you have two people, they're in a committed relationship. One is kind of stuck. The other one wants to move forward, and you're kind of at an impasse. What to do now?
Oh, I've been there so many times. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
You mean like having my lights just went off, having the talk, having that, the talk?
Yeah. I mean, it could range from anything. So it could be, you both love each other. You both establish that, but maybe the girl, maybe he wants to move in with her and she doesn't. I mean, it could be any scenario where two people clearly are in a committed relationship, but they're just, one of them is stuck. They can't move.
Oh man. That is a great question. And here's what I will say. Compatibility is great until you guys don't have a shared vision of the future. Okay.
Exactly.
So, right. So to me, all things can line up. You guys could have the same taste in music, movies, food. You could love the same everything. But if you don't have a shared vision of the future, you're done. Yeah. It will never go anywhere, because that's the biggest, sign of compatibility. And it happens. You get to a point in a relationship where where you can't go further, you lose interest, somebody checks out. I mean, This is why people get divorced. This is why relationships, blow up, break up. I don't know, I don't, again, it's, you have to, as long as you're doing your part, owning your part, okay, and taking responsibility for your part, then the rest is, it's a little bit of like, not my job anymore. It's not, I'm showing up. I've done the work. I'm being the best partner I can. And above and beyond this, I can't do much better. So like I said to the last guy before I met Robbie, I cannot be any more wonderful than I am right now. And if you don't see it now, you're never going to see it. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I left, I split, because I thought I don't want to do this, because he and I are not going on the same path.
Okay? And you talk about that in your book.
Right. So, but lots of couples, when they're firmly committed in long-term relationships, they go through phases.
Yeah.
Right. So again, I'm all for, oh my gosh, personal responsibility. It's so important to own your stuff. It's so important to manage your issues. You can have all kinds of issues. Just for the love of God, just tell your partner, I'm on it. I'm on it. I cope with them. I manage them. It is my work. It's my job. And as long as you're on it, right?
Yeah, you're good to go. What's attachment theory? You talk about that in your book, and I thought that was pretty important to kind of trip over.
Attachment theory is it's a theory of personality types in relationships. Who you are, how you feel about love and how you approach love in relationships. So there are three or four types of attachment styles: securely attached, secure, anxious, avoidant. Three. Okay, avoidant. I think there may be one more, but I think those are just the three that I referenced in the book. And there's a whole bunch of research and studies and science to back this up. And it is real. I mean, everybody sort of has a type, an attachment style. And I determined that I kind of was a little bit of an anxious attachment person, anxious avoidant, because there were times when I avoided it, and it could come off as being commitment phobic.
Right.
Because I wasn't in a hurry to attach, to get into a relationship. And there were other times when I wanted to be in a relationship and then became so anxious. Do they like me? Do they approve of me? Oh my God, what if he dumps me? Oh my God, I'm so anxious. I'm just walking around with all this fear. And it really is an interesting, there's so much content about attachment style. I urge everybody watching to Google attachment theory. It will be a mind blower. It will explain a lot of the kinds of people you attract, the kinds of situations you get yourself into that you keep repeating. It will be a real gift to figure out, why do I keep attracting these guys that are unavailable? Or why are these women so needy? What is it? I mean, why do I keep getting, or hey, how is it that I found someone that is actually secure with herself? Shocking.
It's a shocker. Yeah, right. I thought it. So it explains so much about the people we surround ourselves with. And not only our soulmate, but just like our network of people too, like who you attract.
Yes. So there's the whole theory is kind of based on how love was demonstrated when you were a child. Your primary caregivers, how were you loved as a kid?
Right.
And how did you see love as a kid? So I saw love as a kid to be very tortured. Like there was just always this angst. And so is it any surprise that I may have had some issues, right? Some attachment issues
Yeah. Yeah, that's how you
into adult. It tends
right.
to form, it informs your relationships later in life. That's attachment theory. Super important stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. What is mindfulness-based stress reduction?
So MBSR is a form of meditation that I love and practice. It's very simple. It's really based on a body scan. And this is another thing, everybody, please Google MBSR, mindfulness-based stress reduction. It's about training your body to be present, to be mindful, to stay in your body, as opposed to those times when you're having an out of body experience. And I say that in an anxious way, not a metaphysical way. And it is a technique to keep you grounded and centered. And it's really based on kind of a body scan. There are different variations of it, but the one that I like in practice, you just sit on your couch for about 10 minutes, close your eyes, take some deep breaths, start from your feet and work your way up, kind of check in body part by body part, checking in, releasing, relaxing, letting go, releasing, relaxing, letting go. It centers you, it calms you, and it gets your head straight. And, when all in dating, because dating is so triggering,
Yes.
right? We need all the tools we can get. And meditation is a good one.
It is. And is that one of the good habits you brought into your marriage?
Oh, yes. Yes. And oh boy, did it help during some times when I needed to forgive people.
I hear.
Wow. Okay. It helps a lot of, like, I combined the meditation with some guided visualizations that I did myself. So I would go into my mind's eye and I would picture some, the people that had hurt me. For example, I would see them getting into a hot air balloon, and I would see myself untying the ropes, walking around the basket,
Yeah.
and then sending them off,
Oh,
and
wow.
seeing them and letting them go, sending them off with love. And I was able to get a lot of forgiveness done that way.
Oh, I like that. That sounds like a very powerful visualization. Another thing that cracked me up that you said in your book, that sorry, I laugh every time, that love should give you butterflies, not gastritis. I thought that was so funny because it's so true.
Right. Okay. So that's typical anxious attachment style.
Right.
So someone who's got an anxious attachment, okay, love doesn't give you butterflies. It gives you diarrhea.
It's, it's so true. That's another reason I have to, you're probably saying, why is she talking about my book so much? Because it was so spot on in ways like that. It just was.
Thank you. Yeah. No, it's not good. If you feel like you got to get a grip, right? If you are getting, like, if your butterflies are more like,
Yeah.
gastro, and or if you're getting performance anxiety, or if you're getting like it's compared it to sports, if you're like in a slump and you're freaking out and you can't, take a break, take a time out,
Right.
get some help. There all those I give you tools and techniques in the book. I give clients tools and techniques to deal with this, because again, dating is triggering. It can bring up all kinds of self-doubt and self-worth issues. And I say it in the book, and I say it all the time. Really, dating is really just an exercise in self-worth. It
Yeah.
really is. At the end of the day, it is really about how you feel about yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. And what you bring to the table. And that's kind of it. I also talk about conviction, right? Having conviction about yourself, like belief that, and I talk about, that's part of making luck for yourself, right?
Right.
Making your own luck is having the belief that, yeah, I can be a great partner. I'm a great date. I'm, even if it sounds corny and self-affirmation-y, there's something to it, telling yourself that.
You had said a pivotal point for you was when you thought, once I released my death grip on marriage, suddenly all my boy problems went away. When I took marriage off the table, I was liberated, no longer imprisoned by my hopes or chained to a goal that had become a dead weight. You did what Seth Godin called strategic quitting. That was
Yes. Yeah. Like I said earlier, I sort of quit, and I'm no quitter ever. I don't quit on anything. I probably stayed too long. But I was not raised to be a quitter. And I'm an athlete. I am an athlete. I play sports. I always have. I was in the fitness business. I'm a big believer in resilience and toughing it out. I'm, tough love, babe, all the way. However, with that said, you got to leave a little room for compassion, self-compassion. Okay? Because there is no sense in continuing to do something over and over and over again, right? That's not giving you results. Something's got to give. Something's got, right? And we've been talking about this throughout the hour, like patterns, habits. Yes. Why do I keep attracting this type? Why am I so attracted to this type? If you feel like you're just hitting your head against the wall, okay, that's your cue to take a break, take a deep breath, get some help, hit the reset button, change it up, and do something new and different.
Practicing self-love. I mean, that's something that, I think it helps a lot. Like take a spa day, do something nice for yourself, right?
Oh yeah, I'm all for it. Particularly in the aftermath of a breakup.
Yeah.
I do have on my website. I have some really good, solid breakup tips on my website. So those you can access, because God knows I've had enough breakups. And I know how it's done. I know what to do. I know how to heal. I can show you how to do it. And by the way, if anybody is going through it right now, please reach out. I am I will help you. I'll help heal your heart. There are some really good constructive things you can do. So I forgot the question. You asked me a question about, what was it?
Was it a question?
I don't know.
But another thing you said that cracked me up, and I loved it. You said when Robbie, your current husband, started ripping farts and burping around, you knew that it was love. And you had gotten married, like 10 months after that. So that was really, I find very romantic. Because, when you're first dating, everybody's watching, God forbid you should burp in front of someone. So it's a very genuine sign that.
Yeah. He was on his best behavior all throughout our courtship. But I'll tell you what, after we got married, okay. Like this is, and I'm sort of like faux horror, it's hilarious. I mean, it is, it makes me laugh, but, and I'll say, you are so gassy. You're just what is this? I've never seen anything like this. And he said, you just don't understand the male species. You just don't understand. You've never been around, a guy long enough. And you know what? He may be right, because he's right. I've never lived with anybody before him. And my relationships never lasted really that long for a guy to get that comfortable with me, is that we could be ripping farts around each other. And God, I still don't. I mean, I'm like, oh no,
Right.
no. You gotta have, you gotta have some mystery.
Right. Absolutely. What advice do you have for folks? Especially now, because with Valentine's Day, I see so much of a dichotomy out there. I hate Valentine's Day. I love Valentine's Day. So there's like no in between. It's either one or the other. They either hate it or they're so looking forward to it. What about the people that are home alone and hate it because they're home alone and they don't have, they didn't find their soulmate, especially for a day like tomorrow, which is Valentine's Day? Like, what advice do you have for folks?
Oh, just like New Year's Eve, people, it's just another day. It's, it'll be over. It'll be over in 24 hours. I never got that down and out about it. I just, I had Valentines. There were years when I had a Valentine. There were years where I did not.
Right.
You know what? Go out with your friends.
Yeah.
Make it a Galentine's night.
There you go.
Definitely gather your single girlfriends up or your guy friends. Go watch a basketball game. Don't wait to have a guy or a relationship to be happy. That point I make in the book a lot. Do not wait. Don't put your life on hold to be happy, to have a fulfilled life. Because I'll tell you what, the happier you are being single, chances are the sooner you won't be single. So it is incumbent upon everybody to create a life they love right now.
Right.
Because you want to talk about energy and the law of attraction, that's very compelling. That content energy, people dig that. They sense it. They smell it a mile away. That guy, that woman, she's content. I like her vibe. She's, right? That comes through.
Absolutely.
And so, right. And I'm sorry?
Is it a pheromone thing too, where like, we can release like these pheromones that are not positive? Maybe they're of desperation, and men and women can both sense that.
Yes. And I'll tell you, there's nothing less sexy than a desperate or needy person.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you have to be super duper, nobody is. No one's perfect. No one is. But going back to the anxious attachment style. Okay. So there is something very compelling about someone who's okay in their skin.
Exactly.
And that's all we can ask for. Is anybody ever going to be super perfect, flawless? No. But hey, man, just get to a point where you're good being single. You're going to be fine. You're going to survive. You're going to get through Valentine's. Big deal. And tomorrow, the 15th is just
another day.
It's going to be Saturday soon. So.
Right. It's just a head trip. You play with yourself. What are you, well, you obviously just wrote the book, but what do you have lined up next? And let's start with this. What services do you offer folks now? Like, what's your website? Tell us verbally for those that are listening.
Sure. Okay. It's super easy. It's just my name, TrevaBrandonScharf.com.
And that's TREVA.
TREVA. It's got everything there that you need, everything. You can learn more about me. You can read about my coaching services. You can read testimonials. You can watch podcasts. You can read my blogs. You can read other publications that I contribute to. You can pick up my book. You can buy the book there. You can get the breakup tips. You can sign up for my newsletter. I mean, it's got it all. Okay. So that's where, go there first.
Yes, definitely. So what type of services do you offer? Do you do matchmaking as well? Or is it just coaching, like dating coaching advice?
Okay. So no matchmaking. However, if you're local in LA, I have done it. Just cause I'm that way. And if there's two people here in LA that I think should meet, I'm going to introduce them. But no, I am coaching. I have a few different packages and for your needs. And so what we would do is you start with, you just contact me. And then we get on a Zoom call and we determine what you want to accomplish and how I can help you. And then we go from there. And it's super, it's a great, I just, if I can just shameless plug here.
Of course.
I wish I had someone like me when I was single. I probably might have not been single that long. I have walked in everyone's shoes.
Yeah.
I know, there's not much I haven't experienced myself. So the guidance is really high quality. And we do all sorts of really interesting exercises and meditation and writing. And we talk once a week and then we talk during the week. I'm always available. It's very hands-on, unlike therapy.
Right.
It's a little bit like therapy, but it's way more hands-on. It's way more interactive. And I get you to where you need to go really, really fast.
Is this done individually or is it with a group of folks?
Individual.
Individual. Oh, that's nice.
For now, but you asked me what's in, in the pipeline, what's coming up. So so I'm thinking about doing some webinars and maybe some group coaching and some other cool things. TBD.
Yeah, absolutely. It was such a pleasure speaking with you and reading your book. And please, folks, make sure you check out Treva's website, which I will have all the links in the description of this video to where you can get her book and check out her website. Thank you so much for your time. I hope that we can do this again one day, maybe when you write your next book.
Thank you. See, that's good. That is optimistic thinking. That is, thank you. You were, yes. Okay. That's exactly right. What we talked about. Yes, I am. Something is coming out of me soon. And then it's not diarrhea.
So funny you are. I love it. Laughter is so essential for everything. So
thank you. Great. I just want to say just something. You are an awesome interviewer.
Oh, thank you.
I've had tons. And you are really, you're a pro. And your interest. Oh no, you're the best of the best because you're friendly and you've got it all. You are engaged. You're interested. You're curious. You ask great questions. You did your homework. You're fantastic, Carol-Ann. Thank you.
You made my day.
Oh my God, people! You are lucky to have her.
Thank you so much. And you put up with me and my coughing cold. Thank you again. That was so beautifully. I mean, it made my heart burst with joy. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And I will be in touch because I think you are the bomb. And your book.
Thank you.
And I'm not just saying that to drop compliments. I told you this before we started speaking. It's a game changer, folks. You have to read the book. Please make sure you do that. Let's just reiterate the title again so that folks know. It's called Done Being Single, A Late Bloomer's Guide to Love. And of course, there we go. Look at that beautiful cover too. So we can find that on Amazon and wherever great books are sold, right?
Yes. Yes, you got it. Barnes and Noble, Amazon, wherever, go to my website, whatever, you'll find it.
Yeah, we could get it right off your website.
Yeah.
It's great reading, and it goes so fast because once you start, trust me, you will not put it down. Thank you so much again.
Mwah.
It was amazing getting to speak with you, and I will be in touch.
All right, babe. Feel better too.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, I can see Oliver again, which of course I have to share him with you because for some reason he knows when it's the end of the show. And he wants to come up and give you guys a big hello and a thank you so much for watching. I swear I think he knows. This guy is everything to me. Well, I wanted to say again, thank you so much for listening today. We are broadcasting live on United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, which is 105.3 on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in beautiful New Orleans. Please make sure that you join us every week. I do stream live on Thursdays, every Thursday, between the hours of 5 and 7, this time slot. And I also have a pre-recorded slot, right, Oliver? That is on Fridays between the hours of 3 and 5. And that is all Eastern Standard Time. And of course, that slot is open for, I think he thinks I'm talking to him, is open for folks that can't make the live. And I don't want to miss out on speaking with them. There's so many awesome folks out there overseas that, can't get up at 7 a.m. sometimes or 6 a.m. So there's always a pre-recorded slot. If you are one of those people and you think you'd make a great fit for me to interview, of course, shoot me an email. Again, all the information can be found. Oh, yes, Oliver, he's a sweetheart. Thank you so much. It's my boy. But yes, shoot me an email and I would love to schedule an interview with you as well. If you're an author or if you love the paranormal, UFOs, we talk about it all on this network. Right, Oliver? Yes, we do. So I'm going to go off and walk him now. Thank each and every one of you for watching. God bless. My heart and love go out to all of you. Thank you so much. Have a great and blessed rest of your day. Say bye.